Hey guys, we're here to bring you another episode of the Gorilla KHODDcast, where we wrap up the events for September. And although it's not technically September right now, but we'll make do. So today on the show we have Hate Kage. Say hi, guys.
Up, players.
Hello.
And we also have a special guest, Bizarro.
Goodbye.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, Bizarro is one of our prominent members in the Redditverse. He's been in and out of the Reddit as well, the subreddit, that is.
And he just joined the Reddit.
Yeah. A week
ago.
Right. But
he's well known on the CC and Discord.
I was an old man, and Hate had to instruct me how to do
it. Well, there you go. So welcome to the community. And so today on the agenda, we'll start with getting to know Bizarro. And then we'll move on to the September characters' impact on the meta. As per usual, we'll talk about the siege, what we thought about the Talia siege, thoughts on the last-minute raid that was dropped on us, our Tewtytron topic for the month, and our thoughts on the October characters, as well as a little bit of follow-up announcements to last month announcements pertaining to the podcast. So I guess let's jump right into it. Bizarro, as we normally do with our guests, we would like to get to know you, your history with comics and DC, and how did you get into DCL?
Sure. So it's probably surprising, but I didn't actually have a lot of comics growing up. But what connection I did have to comics, I really heavily identify with DC Comics. And that's because I'm of the firm belief that a hero can only be as good as a villain. And let's face it, DC has better villains. So, but in around 2000 and something, a buddy of mine took me to San Diego Comic-Con. I wanted to meet Ray Bradbury, but it actually had a different effect in that it got me really into comic books. And that's where I sort of got hooked, was at San Diego Comic-Con. So it's been like 13 years now, something like that I've really been into comic books. And I really identified with the Bizarro character a lot, hence the tag.
Uh-huh. Okay, that's awesome. So that would that make you more of a Superman family fan?
I actually like it all, to be honest. It's just something about the Bizarro character. I find it. I would describe it as like a beautiful tragedy. Like trying to figure out. You come into the world, you think you're one thing, and then suddenly you're realizing you're not what you thought you were. The concept of being a hero but messing it up, or not being accepted as a hero. And then I like the comical element of it, that it's like it's not too comical where he's a joke, but it's enough to make it something really enjoyable, and it just really resonates with me. So I've been drawn to that, but actually my favorite hero is Firestorm. So
oh wow, okay. That's a bit off the beaten path when I was thinking about Bizarro. Okay, yeah. Cool. All right. So then would you consider, this is actually a semi-controversial topic for people in the Superman family fanatic pool, Bizarro is a villain or a hero?
I don't think he's either. And I think that's what I like so much about the character, is trying to put people into categories. We know in real life that's not the way that it is. You can catch somebody in a good moment, catch somebody in a bad moment. And that's a lot of what Bizarro is to me, is it's like he's really trying. And if you watch the animated series, there were moments where he saves Lois and Superman. There's moments where he's fighting for the bad guys. So, and to me, that's more realistic portrayal of the way somebody is than some of the other stuff out there.
It reminds me of Catwoman in that regard.
Yes. Selena Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer, though. That's very up to date with today's standards, I guess. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the character's been around for decades, right? So
yes.
You wouldn't think of it as something that would hold true, but it is. It's something that probably one of the things in comics history that holds true all the way until now. That's great, awesome. So what about DCL? How'd you get into this game?
So I was teaching in Miami, and I was really bored one night, and I started searching through the Google Play Store, and I came across it, and I thought, this looks really cool. And who knew that one decision would make such a big impact on my life, because with everything that's gone on since then, it really, like, I had no idea at that time, but it's really, I enjoy the game a lot.
Okay.
But it was just happenstance.
Okay.
This game's all right, I guess.
is your favorite character in this game also Firestorm, or is it a different character?
You know, I after playing the raid, I gotta say, I think Reverse Flash's kit is so unbelievable. And the reason I think that is not only because of the abilities, but just how much it really captures the lore of the character. Some of the characters to me are a little bit off in that they don't capture the real story behind the character, but especially the move where he goes back in time and heals
Time
himself
Paradox.
is just incredible to me.
Yeah,
It's
Time
exactly
Paradox.
what Time Paradox.
Time Paradox was the most flavorful move when I saw it too. Like I thought that this is perfect. You actually see him like jump back into the Speed Force and jump back in or jump back out again.
Exactly.
So that looks really cool.
I've never seen
Okay.
its likeness in the game.
Yeah. Like the only similar thing to me as in terms of an animation and a move is Wally West Flash, the Iron Flash move where he basically looks like he's running off a cliff.
Mhm.
That's a bit of a foreshadowing, but anyways. So in any case, all right, great. Thanks for your answers and good to know you. So let's get into this month's characters. So what do you guys think about Man Bat and Talia for September's impact on the meta? Let's start with Hate.
Well, I don't think Talia is going to have a huge impact on the meta, but I do like her a lot. She's, she's a really fun character, especially because a lot of people really hated on her at first. But I don't know if we're going to see a big impact. I do think Manback might have a larger impact on the meta. I'm surprised I haven't seen a ton of him yet, but he's like the only character in the game I'm actually afraid when I see him. So he's so good on defense. He's very good on offense, but he's a good character. I think at some point we're going to see him have a prominent role. I don't know if necessarily today's that day, but I think over time we will.
Alrighty. What do you think about Suicide Squad, Deadshot, and who's the other? Killer Croc?
Killer Croc, I'm not a fan personally. He's an RNG-based character, and you know how that goes for me. But Suicide Squad, Deadshot, I really like him, and I think you'll see him. I don't think he's going to be like on every team like some of the characters, but I think you'll see him on. I think he'll have a place. He'll be on and off teams. I've been playing with him a lot with Silver Banshee, and I really like that pairing. And I think we'll see more and more of him as time progresses because I feel like we're slowly inching towards a disease or bleed style meta at some point. I think if the game ever eventually takes the next step where we move on to Gear 12, which will happen eventually, I'm sure, could be a year or 2 years from now, I could see those characters having an even more prominent role because they're just what they can do over the long term of the battle. Because Manbat really like turn 3 is when he starts to get scary. Even with Hal Jordan.
Just to piggyback off what you just said about the disease meta or the bleeds being more important in the future, with the rework of Silver Banshee that we know of. So the disease matters has been added onto her kit. I was a little bit disappointed that she didn't get turned into a disease character. Rather, they kept her bleeds, right? Would that be too powerful? Imagine if her basic was like, instead of bleeds, it was disease.
I don't think it'd be too powerful, but I think I would have liked to seen that as well. I think she's kind of at a good spot. She seems really good. I've been using her a ton with Red Hood and Suicide Squad Deadshot, and those two characters seem to proc her nonstop, which is awesome.
Yeah. We'll talk about her a little bit later too.
Yeah.
So, Kage, what do you think about the characters for this month?
I think they're all great. They're all very unique in their own way.
Now we're losing you, Kage, bad.
And Talia took me a lot of warming up to do, especially because
it's really choppy. It's really choppy there, Kage.
We can't hear anything you're saying, Kage. I think it's a Redditor's burst type of thing. You might want to close the app and come back in.
Yeah. Okay. Kage, we'll come back to you. I'll ask Bizarro and then we'll come back to you, Kage. All right, my bad. Okay, Bizarro, what do you think about the September characters?
So I have to be honest, I was really resistant to Manbat because I'm not a bleed character or disease character kind of player. But I have to say, I got him to...
Can you hear me now?
Sorry, yeah, okay. All right, sorry, Bizarro, you were saying?
After I got him to 7011 for the raid, I have to say I really like him. He's a really good character. I only have two issues with Man-Bat. The first is that I think he should have himself been immune to disease. And not to get all nerdy and technical, but if he's a carrier of the disease, either he would be dying slowly from it during the match, or he's immune to it. And so I think he should have immunity to disease. My other problem with disease is just I have the same problem that Hate Mail does. Is I have terrible RNG, and so trying to track how disease is spreading in the background to me is an absolute nightmare. But other than that, I really like him. With Talia, I'm not sure what Talia offers me beyond what I already have in, say, characters like Manta or other evade characters. And I have to say, I am definitely not an evasion character player. I am all evasioned out. I almost quit the game over when I saw Wally West kit. But thankfully I didn't, but I'm just all evaded out. I don't pay to watch people miss each other.
Ooh, so you might not be a fan of the October characters. We'll talk about that in a bit.
I'm back.
So,
Can you hear me now?
yeah, we can.
Much better.
You're a bit better now.
Much
Yeah.
better? Okay.
Are you on Wi-Fi or did you switch to cellular?
No, I've been on cellular.
Oh,
Weird.
Then go talk to your carrier. All right.
Anyway,
Okay.
I'll say real quick that
Mhm.
these characters took a lot of warming up for me to do, especially with Deadshot and Talia. But after discussing things with Hate, I actually do like these characters a lot more now. I don't know if
Oh, there we go again.
We lost him.
have an
He was
impact
so
on the
good.
meta, but I think Man-Bat will be someone to keep an eye on later down the road.
Actually, you got better. It got better right now.
All right.
But
This is
you
my piece
need
right
to
there.
invest in a Wi-Fi router.
Yeah.
All right. So okay. All right. It's weird when you're not talking about the topic, you sound better than when you are talking about the topic.
That's
It's
because
like-
it's not even talking at all.
That's because
like-
we have a celebrity in the audience, so it has to fail.
Of course. Yeah, for those of you guys who are not listening live, Stanner is listening in on our podcast live on Discord. So you guys can be awesome like Stanner and everyone else here and join us live on the show.
Maybe we can have Standard on the podcast one day.
Yeah.
We've asked. They're not allowed. The WB employees.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
the suits don't allow them.
let's get the ball rolling. I mean, let's keep the ball rolling, rather. In terms of the September characters for me, Man-Bat and Talia, I haven't really played much with Talia. I was basically carrying her along as a dead man in my Alliance missions. I wasn't too impressed with her kit. Wasn't really a fan. Man-Bat, I'm more of a special damage character, so I wasn't too into Man-Bat, but I did like the disease aspect of his kit. And part of the Siege, he really brought a lot to the table, even though he was gear 10 for me. So he did do enough that the thing about bleed and disease in general is that even if you're not very high geared, it doesn't really matter because their damage is based on true damage, they're percentage based. So regardless of how much actual physical damage you're doing to the character, the diseases will still do what they're intending to do. So that's why characters that have tons of bleeds or tons of diseases like Man-Bat and Captain Atom for right now, they do hold their weight even though they might be under geared if you're fighting against higher geared characters. So I really do like that aspect and that play to the game. So for those newer characters out there there's newer players out there who are looking to get into high level PvP but are struggling to gear up your characters, maybe consider focusing on bleed and disease as a way to get into higher level PvP. But
I also think Man-Bat has so much XP, so much energy that you can use him early because he'll live.
Right. And if you get his legendary upgrade where he's immune to critical damage, he's just a super tank at that point. He basically becomes like Cyborg Superman, who we'll also talk about later.
One question Joker had was he was curious about Talia. The one thing I noticed is that it seemed like a lot of people were trying to pigeonhole her into evasion teams or different team types. She does pair well with bleed teams, but I kind of feel like she's more plug and play than people give her credit for. I tend to open with her purge more than anything, or her steal, I mean, and her, because that's really the strength of her ability. I tend not to use her basic except later in matches. I liked her paired with Suicide Squad Deadshot. I liked her paired with she actually pairs kind of interestingly with Siren. She pairs well. She does work well in the back roll evasion style teams, but she doesn't really rely on it. I like Black Canary lead with her, but I mainly find her to be more plug and play into groups. I'll just use her purge, and then I use her heal immunity to get rid of problem characters like Bane or Swamp Thing. She can one shot. I had her, and granted mine is level 80 maxed out, but she will one shot an RB2 level 80 Swamp Thing with her 3, and she applies that heal immunity always. So I find it to be extremely useful.
Just adding on to Hate, I made the mistake of running her on pure evasion or pure bleed teams. Don't do that. She self synergizes, so just kind of run her with whatever team. Just experiment.
So she could slot in anywhere, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have a partner that she can enable. So she can enable Black Mana. She can enable some of the other characters, but she doesn't really need to be on those teams. She seems to work well on her own.
Okay, that's fair. So in terms of Suicide Squad, Deadshot, and Killer Croc for me, they fall into the same category as I was just talking about Man Bat, especially with the rework to Suicide Squad, Deadshot, now making him a bleeder. It makes him a lot more potent than he was before, because now every time he gets hit, he's putting bleeds on the character that's hitting him. And and it's not just it's not an insignificant amount of bleeds. It's a ton of bleeds. So again, if you're going with that strategy of trying to fight above your weight class, characters like Suicide Squad, Deadshot are probably characters you want to invest in, because they do hold their own fairly well, even at lower gear levels. So otherwise, what do you guys think about that before we move on? Anything else to add?
I'm not sure which one of you mentioned it, but I'm not sure I find that Deadshot's kit follows his character lore. I'm not sure how staring at somebody bleeds them. I guess I'm still trying to figure that out.
He's got laser beam eyes.
Don't overthink it, man. Just take it. Take it for
laser beam eyes. Pew pew.
I mean, I've given somebody a death stare before, but they never bled from it.
You're just not staring hard enough.
Pew pew lasers. All right. Anyways, let's move on to the Siege talk. So what did you guys think about the Talia Siege this month? Let's start with Bizarro.
I have to say I enjoy Siege. It's one of my favorite in the game, modes in the game. I was very upset when I saw those packs being sold at the beginning, as many of you were too, I think. I don't spend on Siege, but it seems to be the one place that I do very well in spite of not spending. But I really enjoyed it this month.
All right. Alrighty then. So I know how hate feels about this. Let's move to Kage first.
I loved it. Well, besides the Siege sale, because that really was not motivating, but I surprised myself inching my way into the top 60, and turns out not a lot of people really bought those packs. So
Kage.
Here's hoping.
Oh man, Kage.
We don't even hear the gibberish anymore.
Come around again and sell those Siege energy packs, right? I might as well just leave.
Wait.
I might as well.
All right, Kage, what's your carrier's name? I'm gonna write them some hate mail.
He used to have good. He got a new phone, and now we don't hear him. That's crazy.
This is the power of iPhone 11, guys. All right. So, anyways, you were saying. Okay, I guess he can't be saying.
We're.
All right, let's move on to Hate. Oh man! All right, so Hate, what did you think about the Siege?
I hated everything about this Siege. I didn't like the characters because they weren't that. I mean, some of them are okay, I guess, but the sale just ruined it for me. So I didn't compete for World Finest, so that kind of took all the joy out of it. Then I did kind of competed for top 20, and then it was a really boring month. So I'm cautiously optimistic that the sale won't be repeated based on all the negative feedback. So I'm looking forward to this month. So let's just move
Alrighty.
on.
So, I mean, I think that a lot of the community sort of backlashed in the same way that you did regarding the sale. And
Sale would have been great without the siege energy. I would have gobbled it up like candy.
And we were pretty vocal on how we felt about the siege. I mean, the sale. At least you guys were when we released the podcasts for that, following that, right? And the thing about that is that if we take from how we reacted to raids previously and how they sort of touched up on raids for the ones that just passed, hopefully they'll follow suit with the feedback we gave them for siege, and then we won't have a repeat of that next or this month. So, but I mean, we'll just cross our fingers for now. We don't know exactly. But for me, this siege was fun, quote unquote, because I got to play with Constantine, Chemo, and Baby Lobo. So let's just say that you're a bit better. You're still a bit choppy, but we'll make do.
Okay.
All right. So, anyways, what I was saying, because I was playing with Baby Lobo, Constantine, and Chemo, my revenge battles were a lot more entertaining than everything else because I didn't have to care about deaths. So this is again something that I don't know. Is it something that I'm doing to exploit the system, or is it just because it's part of the system that I'm just taking advantage of it? Where does this fall, right? Because I'm playing with a full 10-point team and only doing revenge battles and getting the maximum amount of points I can. So is that bad?
Cheese with it for my revenge battles as well. I'm not. The only thing I'm not excited about next siege is Constantine again. I'm like, come on, guys. Why Constantine of all people?
Dude,
But,
he's so fun
to
use. He's so fun.
Yeah, fun, quote unquote. I mean, I love him. I personally love him, but then I'm a fan of the cheese. So, anyways, so I mean, that is what it is. So, I guess we said our piece on the siege, and hopefully the siege, the energy sale doesn't repeat itself in October.
I have one quick question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I'm just curious how many of the daily packs you guys buy when you play the siege.
Close to 0.
Well, if you're competing for World's Finest, you have to buy every day. Like you have 0 chance if you don't buy every day.
Yeah.
The only time I buy one is if I'm maybe a few places out of a certain rank and buy it on the last day.
I have literally never bought a single pack since the beginning of the Larfleeze siege, but this might be an exception this time around, considering who's the character again? Eclipso? No, Spectre?
It's Eclipso.
It's Eclipso? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like Eclipso's kit. I mean, I like the special damage characters in general, so I might want to get as close as I can to RB1. So we'll see.
You're crazy, man.
But we'll see. I'm not going to commit to that, but I might. We'll see. Okay, so let's talk about the last minute raid for this month. What do you guys first? What do you guys think about the lack of information and how it was sort of dropped on us? Let's talk about that first.
I really wish WPE would be a little more transparent with what they're doing. Like, I understand the psychology aspect of making it a surprise, making it a pleasant surprise, but I mean, people are like, rushing to gear their characters last minute, and they're like, oh no, I gotta gear Ra's al Ghul and I hate this character, kind of thing,
Yeah. Alrighty. I mean, hey, what do you think about the last minute drop?
It never bothers me because I already have everybody geared, so not like I have to prepare. So I don't pay any attention to that, to be honest with you.
All right, but I mean, in terms of the info, like how think about how soon we had this raid following the last raid, because before it was like months apart, right? Now and then they're just like, oh, here's the next raid, like literally within a month later.
Well, I don't remember wasn't there something in the early announcement that there was going to be something, or we didn't?
Oh, really?
I don't remember. Honestly, I have no idea.
Okay, fair enough.
Once the siege was off, I kind of tuned out for the month for a little while, and so I really don't know.
Well, that's fair enough. Bizarro, what did you think about the last minute drop on us?
I mean, I certainly want time to prepare, but the way I took it was almost like an apology raid. Hey, we fixed our problems, now have fun. And I did.
Oh, yeah, and on that topic, this raid was by far the best one they've done so far, with the exception of the hackers, which they did address. So I'm going to give them big kudos for addressing it. Granted, it was kind of last minute, and I understand that they were working on improving. As Reeves told us to share, they were improving their hack detection system throughout that raid, and they're taking action, and we'll have better action for the next raid. So
Awesome.
that's great news.
Awesome.
One thing I'd like to see them do, and this was actually suggested to me by one of my officers, is I don't understand why they don't just delay payouts of all tournaments. If they know they end on the weekend when they're not there, I don't mind waiting a day, and I don't know if others would mind waiting a day to have a more fair payout once these hackers are removed.
That's a good idea. I mean, normal PvP ends on Monday. I don't know when this new siege ends. I don't know when it starts either. I'm lost on that one. But if it ends on a Sunday, that is dangerous. So yeah, you're
They
right.
always
They
end
should.
on Sunday.
I
And
know they
so
did
do the
before.
ones where like Red Hood this month ended on a Sunday, and there were
I
lots
know
of hackers in
I
the
know those always end on Sunday, but the siege. But siege, I mean, siege is kind of hard. It's not like somebody can just suddenly come out of nowhere and become first. So that one I'm not too worried about. I guess it could be addressed earlier.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about the timing of all of this is that it's either you're going to run it during the weekdays, or if you run over the weekend, you have to have someone during the weekend, right?
Agreed.
Or you could have it at the very worst. The best compromise would be have it end on Monday morning, like Pacific time.
Well,
right?
I think Bizarro has the great idea. Just delay the payout for everything. I mean, that solves everything.
Yeah, I
That
think
allows you to have the tournament on the weekend when people are home, and then you
Mhm.
can also address hackers if you need to.
Okay.
It's a great
and then
idea.
it gives you the best of both worlds.
So that means that people, I mean, people will just have to wait, but you're going to get, as long as you're not hacking, you're going to get what you're going to get. Just be patient. That's all.
It's just the next day. I mean, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, that's right. All right. I mean, that makes sense then. Okay. Well, let's move on to the actual contents of this raid. Now, I'm going to be honest with you because I was in the process of moving. I think I've played maybe about less than a half a day's worth of raiding. But what did you guys think about the raid? I know a lot of people were saying that there were a vast amount of improvements compared to the last one, and Hate was pretty vocal about that. So why don't we start with Hate?
Overall, I mean, I don't find the actual raid itself super compelling or fun. It's not exactly what I want a raid to be. But in the current iteration, I did find myself enjoying this one a little bit, especially towards the end. Like I don't remember what raid it was when it was like a horrible grind to 500 million. As soon as I hit what I needed to hit and the alliance looks like it was in a good spot, I was like, okay, I'm checked out. But this one I actually played all the way until rollover and was helping some other align mates clear out some bosses at the end. So I actually did kind of enjoy that. The rewards were good. I was a little disappointed to see they lowered the rebirth tokens for the top alliance a little bit, but the 30,000 gems is still amazing. And I hope they tune it down just a little bit. I think 4 days is a little too long. Maybe decrease it by a day or two. But overall, this raid was pretty glitch free, which I thought was great. They put MVP back in. If there's significantly less hackers next time that are not stealing the big bosses, kind of felt like it was in a really good place. So I really don't want them to spend a ton of time changing raids again. And just I'd rather see other new content that's now that I see that they have the capability of doing like communal bosses and everything, I'd rather see some harder, less time consuming content on some other new game mode. Leave the raids are the way they are, do it once a month. I mean, I had so many XP meta agents that I can take just from this raid, because I really didn't have hardly any. I could take both Spectre and Eclipso to level 80 and still have a ton of XP meta agents left over.
Wow.
So I mean,
so you were really grinding hard.
it got to the 500 million, which I didn't go too insane to get there. And I mean, granted, I spent a ton of time grinding the alliance boss because we were in the heated race with UGLA. But yeah, overall, I mean, I felt like it's. I don't really think there's really any other major adjustments they need. They gave legendary essence on the big bosses, which were really nice. I don't know how much I have because I can't see. It's one thing they really shouldn't allow you to see how much legendary essence you have if you don't have any characters that aren't L5. That would be kind of nice, but that's fine. First world problems, I guess.
Alrighty. So, how did you guys finish actually? The Court of Owls versus the UGLA or UC.
We
I
were
think
we got world
we
finals
beat them
again.
like 150 million or something.
Yeah, but I think they kind of gave up early on Sunday.
Yeah. No, they were pushing hard that morning, and then everyone was like, "Dude, push!" I'm like, "Oh my god!" So here's the thing: I really don't like the Alliance raid leaderboard because there's no point. There's really no point. It's just, hey, how many bosses can you kill in 70, 82 hours, and no one really cares about that. So I really wish if they would just give everyone like 15K and just have your Alliance kill 300 bosses over the weekend and call it good. Or something,
I actually just wish the boss was more strategic. It wasn't just a grind. Like, it was more difficult. I mean, it was fun trying to come up with comps to kill him faster.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
that's
we came
what
up
I
with we came up with a really cool one like in the last 4 hours. But of course, it was like already decided by that point. We came up with a much better comp. But and that was M4, the sensei, who came up with that. But the
he's the master of making auto comps.
He really is.
Part of the
But
reason we got as high as we did is I figured out that for the red Necron, running reverse flash by himself, I could beat one in 40 seconds by myself.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Oh, nice.
Huh.
Yeah, that's how we caught up because we were down in the teens, and I ran him as a joke, actually, thinking, let me see how this works, and it worked so beautifully. I told everybody in my alliance to do it, and we started knocking out red Necrons left and right, and before I knew it, we were back in the top 10.
Because he gets more turns, right? That way. It's
Wow, that's
basically just
interesting.
speeding through. Yeah.
How much
Yeah.
damage were you
Eventually,
doing?
Necron never goes again. I was doing either 3 million or 1 million a hit. I actually have a video on my YouTube
per
channel
turn,
of one of
like,
them.
I'll have to check that
I
out.
was finishing him by myself
Wow.
in 40 seconds. I was soloing.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I actually kept myself out of top 10 so nobody would see what I was doing.
Bizarro, what's your YouTube channel? I want to see it.
It's just Bizarro with the R backwards, which makes it hard to find because unless you got a Russian keyboard, you can't type that in. But I'll send you a link.
All right, cool.
Put a link in the Gorilla KHODDcast chat whenever
Channel.
you get a chance.
Okay.
And we'll try and put them in the show notes as well when we release the podcast.
Because I would love to
Thank
see
you.
that as well.
Yeah. So for everyone here listening to the show, we'll try and, if possible, clip that video as well to put it into the video version of this on YouTube. Otherwise, we'll also put Bizarro's link to his YouTube channel there so you can see the actual video itself. Okay.
Just don't have high expectations of my content.
All right. So what we're going to say here. So about the actual raid itself, I guess most of us were saying like it hasn't really changed in terms of its actual content, but they have ironed out things that people didn't like. Is there anything that you guys want to see like either come back or improved upon? Like something that was in a previous raid and that is no longer there, or something that we think is still missing and they need to add in?
Fun.
Would
They need to add
you
fun
mind if
to the
I
raid.
start with this one?
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you. So, the negatives for me were, first of all, like the character selection, where if you're not going to allow bleeds and disease to go on a raid boss, what's the point? And I thought that was rather odd. I really miss the void scanner spins. I'm probably in the extreme minority on that one. But one thing I really
The
want to see.
3-year anniversary is coming up. You might get 30 of them soon.
One thing I would like to see changed is the legendary boss sharing. And I think the way it should work is I should get one attempt at the legendary boss by myself without interruption. And I noticed I see other people doing damage before I had even finished one match. And then I think I should be allowed to share with my alliance one time before anybody outside of my alliance is allowed to attack. And then once that happens, it can go outside my alliance. And that allows those who are putting more into the raid to get more out of it and to see more reward for attacking the boss. And I think it would minimize that one hit and out syndrome because we earn more as an alliance.
That makes sense. So you basically want more control of how you're sharing things, right?
Yes.
I have mixed feelings about that because sometimes your weaker alliance mates that can't finish off bosses do the share, and then your board has like 16 bosses that have like 12 life, and you don't want to fight them.
Well, we were trying to time the release of ours so that we didn't have that problem. That way we could attack one all at once. But there were so many other people from other alliances getting in, we couldn't do enough to justify it keeping attacking it as an alliance.
I'm talking about like the level 90 or level, like level 90 characters and
Yes.
stuff. People that are level 70s couldn't finish them in one go. So then at one point I had 2 different alliance mates, which no fault on theirs, but when they couldn't completely finish them, they'd share them out to the public, but then it would like at one point I had 16 on my board and I couldn't spawn bosses because I had so many.
Yeah, and what I was saying would only be limited to legendary bosses in that sharing method.
Okay, yeah, no, that'd be good. And then I yelled at my alliance mates, yes. I should have just cleared them. I was being a bad teammate.
Okay.
I had the opposite problem. I had to keep yelling at mine to please let me know when you're posting one.
Fair enough. All right. I mean, any other things to add about the raid before we move on?
I wanted to say I agreed with Hate that I was sad to see the rewards for Alliance go down a little bit. I know that was counterbalanced by better rewards for your finishing position as a solo player, but did miss those rewards as an Alliance. And I gotta say, I am so proud of my teammates. I don't know if I'm supposed to be able to say this on here. I am so proud. I've never been so happy to get third in my life.
Well, if you want to give a shout out to your alliance or to anyone else, go ahead. Anyone you want to say hi to?
No, I mean, I would really like to say thanks to my officers. That includes Matty Bow 23, Bizarro, and Galahad. They really helped me a lot. And all the guys who were hitting the boss, sending me screenshots of damage. Like I said, I've never been so thrilled about third place in my life.
What's your alliance name, by the way?
Bizarro's #1 alliance.
Makes sense. All right. Okay, so all right, let's move on to the October characters and Tewtytron's topic, because I'm gonna put these together since they kind of are the same thing. So we're gonna talk about the October characters being previewed, which were Eclipso and Spectre as our new characters, and then rework characters being Cyborg Superman and Silver Banshee. Now, Tewtytron's topic for this month, he's moving away from the usual how is this character like in the meta, because he's doing his own thing on YouTube. You guys can follow Tewtytron as well on YouTube. But his question instead for this month was, what are our thoughts on Eclipso being basically a copy and pasted version of Harley Quinn Mad Jester, but slightly tweaked? And then also, how will characters with similar kits but different affinities affect the meta or gameplay overall? So again, like just to repeat, if you guys haven't already seen the kit previews, go check out WB's official community center post and the Reddit post done by Reeves on that. You can see that Eclipso is kind of evasion based and retaliates on misses, right? So let's just jump onto that. First, let's talk about Eclipso. What do you guys think about Eclipso? Let's start with Kage.
Can you hear me?
Let's try.
Yes.
Oh, thank God. So I don't like to play with meta characters that much. So I kind of feel like ashamed when I play Donna Troy or Wonder Girl, even though sometimes it's like necessary. But
you like Amazon?
I do. I really do. That's my justification. But I do think to myself sometimes, I'm like, it'd be nice to have a blue Tonner that's not as crappy as Shazam, but isn't meta like Donna Troy. And I feel like Eclipso could fit the bill. So I'm kind of excited for his kit.
All right, fair enough. I'm in the same boat as Kage. I was excited for a blue taunter, so that's good. Hey, what do you think about Eclipso?
I think he's gonna be a very good character, but I'm not excited for more evasion characters in the slightest. The only one nice thing about him is Hirgundetchat's just gonna one-shot Eclipso every time, so that probably will solve that problem, no problem. But I mean, we see plenty. Yeah, but I mean, Hirgundetchat doesn't miss. he'll one-shot her with that full. But I don't want to have to use Hired Gun Deadshot in a bunch of teams again. I don't miss running Hired Gun Deadshot, Brainiac combo teams like we did before we had Hal Jordan. But Hal Jordan should do the trick still too, just not as good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not real excited for Eclipso, but I have a feeling he's going to be a very good character.
All right. Bizarro, what do you think about Eclipso?
I echo a lot of what Hate just said. I'm not a fan of evasion characters. I don't go to a baseball game to watch people swing and miss at pitches. I go and see them hit the ball. So I don't get excited about that. And I do think he'll be fodder for Red Robin, and I do think he'll be fodder for Hired Gun Deadshot. The one thing I couldn't see in my game was, because I don't have him open yet, is does he have a turn 0 taunt?
Right.
Yeah, he has a turn 0 taunt.
I think you have to get an
Okay.
upgrade for that.
He's
but
basically
he
Harley
does
Quinn,
have
but
it.
Mystic.
Yeah.
And he can
He
throw
doesn't
down
have
evasion.
enrage though, right?
Yeah, I think he does.
He does.
Oh, he does? Oh, God.
Yes.
0 taunt with a rage. It's like,
It kind of makes me feel like they're not putting a lot of thought into new characters. It just seems redundant.
I mean, it
So
obviously was on purpose because he kind of has his adjuster cap. I think they wanted him to be. I mean, he's basically if Harley Quinn and Scarecrow had a baby.
Fair enough. All right. Well, okay. Well, that is what it is. So, man. So now the second part of Tewtytron's question was the idea of having these type of characters being different affinities. And imagine, so can you think of another character that's a staple in the game and bringing in a carbon copy of them in another affinity? Let's go with, what's a good character? Imagine a green Wonder Girl.
That would be horrifying.
A blue power
I mean,
girl?
She better be an Amazon.
okay. But I mean, what? How do you think this would affect the meta and gameplay? If you're just taking characters and then basically slotting them into different affinities, what happens then?
I think you're going to see exactly what we're going to see with Eclipso. Is you're going to see Harley Quinn and Eclipso on every team together.
Okay.
Because they do meshed well together. I mean, Batgirl, Eclipso, Harley Quinn is going to be a very common team because it's going to be you're going to have to deal with both of them at the same time, which is going to be usually it's not too bad. You can run Hal Jordan, deal with Harley Quinn, but then now you got another evader who's got heavy amount of evades. So I think, and then if there's a Wonder Girl version, you're just going to see 3 or 4 of them on the same team if it's an OP type of character.
So you're basically saying we're going to be seeing a lot of Batgirl, Eclipso, Harley Quinn, Wonder Girl.
I'm sure.
Oh God. Well,
Well, we saw a lot of
100%
Donna
so
Troy.
excited.
We saw a lot of the Donna Troy, Wonder Girl, Batgirl teams for a while, and that kind of
Yeah, but Hal
out.
Jordan slowed it down. But now with a Mystic version of Harley Quinn, you're not going to be able to run a Hal Jordan lead. You're going to have to run Hired Gun Deadshot. Then that means you're going to have to run Brainiac to avoid getting enraged. So
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things pan out. I don't think it'll be that bad.
Tewtytron was saying the fix to that is Superboy, but the problem with Superboy is that Eclipso is a mystic, which is sort of like this is getting back onto Tewtytron's actual topic. The fact
Target
that
also makes a very good point. Background scale coincidence? I think not. So that's a very good sale too. It's one the 6,000 for 150 gems. I think it is. So
yeah.
maybe I should rebirth.
Okay. Well, jeez. I mean, here's the problem, right? So then, if you're bringing Superboy, for example, or a character like Hal Jordan to deal with characters like Harley Quinn, Mad Jester, because of the way his kit performs, and they're both affinity advantaged. Bringing in a character like Eclipso sort of beats out the fact that these characters are designed in a certain way to beat other characters, but now their affinities don't line up anymore, right? So you're not doing as much damage, you're taking more damage from them. So I think what you're going to have to do then, if you're creating certain types of characters in different affinities, then the answer versions of them have to also be created in the opposite affinities, right? And you get into this, yeah.
What I think we
Go
should
ahead.
see instead would be kind of like what Ion did, where you could have an affinity 3, like let's just say you could have an affinity of, say there's Harley Quinn, Mad Jester. They make it so you could gear up separately a whole nother character, which is Harley Quinn, Mad Jester, Mystic, Harley Quinn, Mad Jester, Energy. But you can only have one on your team.
Oh, I see. So basically, you create multiple affinity versions of each character, and let's say we give them Black Lantern skins, and then you can swap them in and out, right?
I could see DCL doing that eventually. It'd be a cheap, easy way to just make new characters that you have to gear up.
Mhm.
I'm sure a ton of people in the community would despise it, but
And it
including
it
this
would
one.
solve my gearing problem.
Yeah. But if you take my idea of having alternate versions of those characters with Black Lantern skins, it's a very great way to make some money. So,
Yeah.
By the way, release those Black Lantern skins.
Yeah,
So,
please. Those things are awesome.
yes.
Don't you think the rework of Cyborg Superman helps in the can't miss
Oh yeah,
category?
let's. I'm going to get onto that right before that though. Let's talk about Spectre. So, Spectre. What do you guys think about Spectre? Let's go with Bizarro first.
This is one of the few characters I ever asked for that I actually got. So just from the perspective of wanting the character for a love of the character themselves, I am so happy. I hope he doesn't become one of those empty characters where you feel like you wasted all your gear and mats. But I am very excited for the character. His kit looks good. He looks to me like he has elements of some things like from Black Adam's kit. For instance, where he does his AoE and then immediately follows with the basic. So I really think he's going to be a pure damage character, the way his kit looks to me. But I'm just excited for him as who he is in the DC universe.
Awesome. All right. Hey, what do you think about Spectre? Yeah, lost my name. Lost my train of thought.
I need a slow gear character, and personally, I'm not real excited for his kit. And I don't like that his basic does physical damage when he's a special damage character. That means it's basically going to be close to worthless. He does have potential, so I don't know if I'm going to regret that or not. But I'm going to wait till the sale comes out, see what my alliance mates who are going to power gear him, I'm sure. Several of them will. Bullseye, that guaranteed. And then, and mostly costly. He'll probably be, spending some costly money on it, and then we'll see how he pans out, and then I'll debate if I want to gear him because, as you all know, I only have Roz that geared, and I just don't know. So I'm probably going to have to gear Eclipso. Any zero turn taunter is always going to be a character that I will gear, just because they're too youthful not to have. So
Spectre.
Yeah, Spectre is kind of one of those things. I don't know if he's one of those characters I need. I feel like his kit's kind of reminds me a little bit of Talia, where you could really like him or he could flop horribly. So I'm really not sure. I'm really torn on him. So I kind of want to wait and see, but he might be a slow gear.
All right.
So I need one.
Kage, any thoughts on Spectre?
Not really. No, I
Okay.
I don't really care for another damage character. He looks like he could be useful for like his utility, turn meter down and purging. Actually, I might gear him just because of those aspects anyway, because I do like turn meter based characters. So we'll see.
I like how he probably slots well. I think he's going to slot well with characters like Mary, because like sort of turn meter manipulation and speeding up, and the fact that Mystics like don't often do that. I like that. So that's one aspect.
And his animations are just so awesome. So that I want to gear him for that reason alone.
Yeah,
I think he'd be a great character for newer players to trying to make it through red alerts. To me, turn meter is one of the most critical things for red alerts, and a character like him really works well with that.
I run red alerts on auto with Black Adam, so
that's fair enough. I was gonna say about these characters when I saw the second post, the one with the actual the actual pictures revealed, not just the silhouettes. I mentioned this in the JLR chat, and a lot of people were sort of like saying, once you see this, you can't unsee it. And people who are anti-Marvel might not like me for this, but when I first saw that, I thought instantly Green Goblin and Doctor Doom.
It really did look like that. That's what I mean. There were so many guesses of that.
So, you can't unsee that now, guys. So, anyways, that is what it is. Let's move on to the reworks. I'm very, very excited for this month for Cyborg Superman and Silver Banshee.
GP, I hope your recording's still going because mine failed.
Oh yeah, it's still going.
Okay, good.
So so what's it called? The first Cyborg Superman. I'm excited because that's who I am on the show. That's my representation of me. And just a little bit of back lore for you guys why I chose Cyborg Superman as my representation. I'm a Superman fan. Superman is my favorite character, but a lot of people say that when I talk, I sound like a robot. So I went with Cyborg Superman as my character. And yeah, I think it's fitting. I like him as a character too. And the thing about Cyborg Superman that is getting me really excited now, a lot of you guys who know me, especially with the content that I make on the YouTube or that I was making before and I need to get back into, is I was very focused around special damage. And now Cyborg Superman has been converted to completely special damage. So I can see him being either a huge special damage character like a striker, but I think he's more of a tank, right? Does he have the Kibo gear set?
Yeah, chemo gear set.
Okay, so he's a big tank that doesn't really take much damage since he's crit immune, and I assume that his damage is okay, but not amazing, right? I haven't actually tested him.
Darn good. He doesn't need to crit, and he can one-shot Bane.
Oh, really?
He is.
He one
He
shots.
is doing some serious damage.
He one shots Man-Bat.
Are we talking about his 3?
His boulder.
His boulder will one-shot Man-Bat.
Oh, wow.
His boulder will actually one shot any red without a crit.
Really? Jeez.
Yeah.
Even Man-Bat. Wow. Man-Bat has a huge health pool. Okay. Wow.
It's pretty OP, but yeah.
Okay.
It's a long cooldown.
The first hit he gave me on his basic reminded me
Mostly
that
costly.
he just got reworked.
Mostly Costly just said his is. Keep in mind, Mostly Costly's is RB2, and he says shielded Man-Bat with 8 agility ups. It still one-shots him.
Jeez. So I kind of regret going with Silver Banshee as my gear first. So
I can't believe that. That's almost sacrilegious for you.
I was in the process of gearing Silver Banshee anyways. I was like halfway to gear 11 before the announcement came up, like before we knew about it. So I kind of said, okay, well, I guess I'll finish off Silver Banshee, then start on Cyborg Superman. I
can't believe you don't have Cyborg Superman geared already, just based on your icon. And
I like him as a character, but I didn't like him for the fact that he has special damage. So I kind of left him at gear 10. But right now,
my Bizarro is gear level 70 gear 11, so you better get on that.
my Cyborg Superman's at 65 right now, so he'll be there probably by the end of the week. So I'm not a whale like any of these guys, so I take my time with these. But hopefully, by the time his Alliance week comes up, wait, which week is he in? Is he next week?
Next week?
No, the week after. The week after, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's gonna be a siege character though, and he's gonna be a useful siege character since I think he's the only energy character. So
okay, so I'll get him up to gear 11 for siege. So then, yeah, we'll do that. So that is what it is. Let's go with Silver Banshee. So Silver Banshee also got an upgrade to her basic, which was physical damage before, which basically did no damage, and now is special damage, which also doesn't do great damage still.
It's okay. It's not bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So she also got a kit change, obviously, as well, because before striker, now she's a special striker. So that's why you see more damage being focused on intelligence, right?
No, she's always been special damage.
Oh, she was always special striker, except she was doing physical damage on her basic before?
Yep.
Oh, God, that's why.
She does so much more damage on her basic than compared to... I mean, it's not like huge compared to other characters, but it's pretty good. I mean, like, significant.
So have you seen any significant improvements to both Cyborg Superman and Silver Banshee in terms of Gear 11 gameplay, Hate?
Yes, both significant improvements. I haven't played Cyborg Superman a ton, but he's definitely way better than he was. The little bit I've used him, I've been very impressed. I mean, he's still slow. He works better on slow, tanky teams, I think. But I mean, he can kind of slot into anything. I think with the evasion meta returning potentially, he's going to be very useful. But just that boulder just does so much damage. It's crazy.
You know what?
And then that turn meter helps a lot. I mean, he's a solid character.
You know what? Hey, those characters like Cyborg Superman and Man-Bat will be a way to deter those pesky 10.5ers.
Oh yeah, you can build. I think you're going to be able to build some teams that people that typically could kind of cheese their way with Hired Gun Deadshot through matches are going to really struggle against. And then Silver Banshee, she is just worlds better than she was. As long as you're running her with a purger who can bleed, so your Hired Gun or your Suicide Squad Deadshot, your Red Hood. Red Hood is amazing with her. He procs her non-stop. I mean, you can literally, you can, and then she kills somebody, then they die, then you steal all their buffs. I mean, such a big difference with her. She's still super squishy, which is her drawback, but it doesn't matter. You just protect her with everybody else, and she's significantly improved. I mean, both characters I would say were C or D characters, and now they're probably A or B characters.
So from what I'm getting is their kits haven't changed all that much, but their gear sets have, and the little touch-ups to their the fact that now their special damage have greatly improved them, right? Their kits overall haven't changed significantly.
Well, I mean, Cyborg Superman got the turn meter, which makes a big difference. And then Silver Banshee got the increased, before you could never get her AoE to proc from purging. And now if it's with a bleed, it's 70. What is it, Kage? 70 or 80% when there's bleeds?
80.
80, yeah.
80%?
Or 90. It's 80 or 90. It's high.
Okay. It's high.
So you can, it's high enough that even us with RNG deficiencies see it constantly.
So, all right. That's pretty good. Bizarro, what do you think about the reworks?
I don't have either one of them geared, so I can't really say a lot. Is it my imagination, or was the boulder throw, it used to put crit chance downs and now it gives him crit chance ups, or was that always the case?
I think that was always the case.
Wait, it puts crit chance down, right?
Now it gives him crit chance ups.
Yeah,
if I remember.
Now it gives him 8 or 10 crit chance up. You're right.
The laser beams always put the crit chance down.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Okay.
So they both were doing those things previously. They haven't actually changed, but it's just two different moves that were confusing with each other. So, alrighty. So overall, I think these were pretty good improvements. We'll see once the month gets rolling, and hopefully, I'll get lots of playtime with Cyborg Superman. All right,
you'll be very happy with his changes.
So probably I'll be on the podcast where we talk about the meta report on Cyborg Superman. Okie doke. So let's just wrap up the show now, since we're running roughly. We were a bit behind to begin with, so we're okay on time actually.
We're like an hour behind. So
yeah, but so in terms of the podcast announcements, what I said last month about getting stuff rolling and all the merchandising and all that stuff. So I was going to update you guys on what's going on. I was in the process of moving. I'm actually back in Canada now, more or less permanently. So
you mean you'll be able to make more of the podcast, which would be nice.
In terms of timing, it'll be easier for us too, because I'm on the East Coast, same as Hate. So things will be easier for us to coordinate. So in terms of the ringtone stuff first, so I've gotten access to the Doombox ringtone that I was looking for. I actually just had him record it again. And then a few other ringtones, one from Joker that I picked up, and then I think there was a couple of other ones that I picked up. I'm going to be releasing at least 3 or 4 soon for patrons at the $1 or higher level, at the Jimmy Olsen level or higher. So you guys should be getting that at the very least. I'm going to try to do that within the next couple of weeks. My new job doesn't start until the end of October. So then I have, for merchandising, we are looking into getting stuff set up on Teespring, which is mainly T-shirts and some apparel stuff right now. I'm not sure if they do mugs or stickers and all that stuff, but we'll try and work through that. The problem right now is the graphic stuff that we're using. A lot of that was done for like banners like Facebook or for YouTube or for the album cover art. I'm going to try to get some with like transparent background so it looks better on a T-shirt. So I'm going to have to talk to my graphics guy about that. We do have some stuff there temporarily on our Teespring website, which I think is teespring.com/WRL broadcast. But I wouldn't recommend anyone to go buy that right now unless you guys really want to have like an awkward looking T-shirt. But we're going to work through that on Teespring. Hopefully, I'm not going to try and make too many promises. Hopefully by the beginning of November, that should be set up. And then for November, I tried to make a promise last time about setting up streaming since we're over the $100 mark. I think most likely we're going to go with Twitch. hey, do you have any idea like versus Twitch versus something like what's the
Yeah,
Microsoft
because we play, a lot of us play on iOS. It's so hard to stream from an iPad or iPhone that Twitch is really the only vehicle that really works. YouTube, we can stream it to YouTube where it records it, but there's such a delay that we'll be able to upload it to YouTube after the fact, but we won't be able to have it come through the way we want it. So Twitch seems to be the best vehicle, something that we're definitely going to be moving forward on.
I'm going to have to research the new Microsoft platform. What's it? Mixer? That's the one that Ninja's on, right? So
Mixer's awesome.
Oh yeah. Do you know if it facilitates streaming from iOS?
I haven't played with that yet, but I'll play with it tonight.
Okay.
I'll get back to you.
If Mixer turns out to be more iOS friendly, we might. We'll see. Either way, I know that Twitch is reasonable. So
Twitch works.
So again, our plan for that, most likely, if we can get things up smoothly set up for November, it should be more or less every week. And since there's about 4 to 5 of us that can stream on a regular basis, it'll probably be us alternating once a week. Let's see. So, I mean, being once a week, I mean once a month. So that'll be weekly then at that time. Okay. So with that, any other things before we wrap up the show, guys? No?
Got it. Can't think of nothing.
Okay, cool. So to wrap up every show like we do, let's give a shout out to LMR 107 at the Bruce Wayne level, Tewtytron and Charles L, which is Fries, at the Lex Luthor level, earning them the topic suggestions each episode and this shout out. So LMR, you haven't given us a topic suggestion this one. You can for the next one if you want. Same with Tewtytron, who he does every month. And Fries has been kind of quiet, but you can get on Fries if you want. Hey, so then we have a special shout out for our newest patron, Quirky Major 1872, who came in as our newest Jimmy Olsen patron. So thanks for your support. And for all you guys who are patrons supporting the show, just a reminder, if you haven't already, message me on the Discord Redditverse server at look up JLR DP0427, and I will get you set up with your Patreon roles. And so, again, if you guys want to be heroes like these guys, helping keep the lights on, consider supporting us over on patreon.com/WROL broadcast.
Oh, there's one thing I wanted to mention. Bizarro formed for Alliance leaders a chat specifically, or a Discord server specifically for them. So if you are a leader of an alliance, reach out to Bizarro for him to add you to that. Really good idea for basically if you identify a hacker in your alliance, or if you have some issues with a certain member, or if you just want to correspond with other alliance leaders about certain topics that would apply to you. Seems like it'd be seems like a great idea that Bizarro put together. So I know there's quite a few alliance leaders in that.
Awesome. So that is all, I think. Any last words, guys?
Thanks, everybody. We had a pretty good turnout. Standard didn't even say goodbye, but it was nice to see her here.
That was really cool. Really random.
Awesome. Yeah. So hopefully we can get Reeves to tune in one day. So
I know. Well, now that before we were doing like Sunday morning, so we need to do it like during working hours, so maybe she'll tune in.
Fair enough. All right. Okay. Well, thanks again, Bizarro, for being on the show. And I guess
no, thanks for having me.
Alrighty then. So with that, I'll say good night, guys.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Peace.
Good night, guys.
Hey everyone, it's Tewtytron. Thank you for listening to the WROL broadcasts. If you like the show, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/WROL broadcasts. Me and Hank gotta go, because Kage asked us for some dating tips. See you next time.